Well, welcome everybody to another episode of A Curiously Good Podcast, the podcast where we find, write, and read the curiously good literature lurking in plain sight. My name is Noah J. Matthews, and I'll be your host today. Today we've got a treat for you, a short story called The Betrayal, written by Anna Garner. I will be reading it today, and it's a gritty story. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's really good. It's one of my favorites. Today's episode is brought to you by Lawless, a gritty anthology of sci-fi western stories developed by Ali Prince. Let's dive into today's episode. This isn't your granddad's Christian fiction. It's time to find and celebrate the good stuff. The Kingdom writers who are breaking boundaries and eating stereotypes for breakfast. It's time to show the world what a new generation of Christian writers has to offer. It's time to show them something curiously good. There's curiously good kingdom literature all around us. Some of it old, some of it being written as we speak. Welcome to a kingdom-minded conversation for readers. Let's talk about the good, the bad, the holy, the profane. And let's have fun while we do it. The Betrayal by Anna Garner. Moss cushioned Caligo's cheek, enveloped his arms, caressed his body and feet. Green the moss was, and feather-soft, a more heavenly bed than any human hands could make. Deep, sweet-smelling. Blood. The moss wanted blood. He would die here. Happier circumstances would have held Caligo to the moss in bliss, lost in an embrace almost as sweet as the arms of his wife, the gentle folds of rest after triumph in battle. Today, it was his wounds which kept him on the ground. Gashes on his left and right side, taken by swords he had traveled beside hours before in brotherhood. It was the betrayal that stung him the most, but it was the wounds that would claim his life. Moss was meant for dressing such ailments, but in its thickness, it sucked out his blood faster. He lay still and struggled to conceive of a plan. His mind was thick with pain and misery, and even as he fought against heavy eyelids, a shadow of pink and white came out of the green of the forest. Beautiful as a rose, tender and loving as the moment he had departed from her. Here she came, out of his mind, against his will. What plan could he devise to go to see her again? There was none. He trembled to imagine her face broken with tears and sorrow at the news of his disappearance. Worse yet, if a baby was there now, to taste tragedy at birth. But if he shouted, the traitors would return with their overlords to finish in malice the work they had begun out of fear. A shiver raced through his whole body as the leaves in the forest shifted and jumped. He saw them first moving of their own accord, splashing at the feet of a shadow that drifted from the back of the woods to the front of his gaze. It stopped, halfway across the clearing. Not a shadow, but a black dog, raggedy and splattered with mud and dirt on her sides, flea-bitten at the muzzle. She unfurled her tongue with a haphazard sigh. Then she approached, snuffling, exploring Caligo's head with a cold, wet nose. After a moment, she licked him, long and warm, across the forehead. Caligo's mind groaned as the illusion of his precious rose wilted, replaced by the dog's presence. Helpless though he was, unable even to thrash his fists now that the wild beasts had come to feast on him. The dog made her way around him slowly, as her belly was heavy with milk, and found Caligo's wounds. He waited for her fangs to widen the tear in his flesh and end his life. But all that he felt was something soft and warm running slowly over his side. In his muddled, fevered thoughts, he heard the moss shrieking. It wanted the blood, but the blood was slowing, and the moss was taken from his wound. The dog took her tongue to his side and worked some more, so tenderly that Caligo could no longer fight the weight of his eyelids. Hope. restored hope. This was no mere dog, but Rose's hand upon him. It was her sweet breath over his pain. It was her healing. Full of a sudden strength, Caligo rallied his muscles, filled his chest with air, and tapped his hand against the moss. "Come here," he whispered. After a moment, the dog appeared before him, bringing her face down close to his. Her muzzle dripped with blood, but her breath smelled sweet. Caligo lifted his hand up, shaking so violently he could hardly tell if he had reached her neck or not. "Go." He petted her in the direction of a miracle, of camp, the one that awaited the return of its 3 scouts. "Bring those men to me." The dog panted and sniffed unblinkingly. "Go, go." He scratched harder. The line he traced on her neck told the way. "Go." Moss against his hand told him his arm had fallen, and spots swam in his vision. But the dog went. She disappeared behind him, south in a direction that spelled hope. The vision of Rose reappeared then, more vivid than before, with nothing but happiness on her face. She held a baby in her arms, clothed in blue. The baby laughed, and Rose paraded him for his father to see. A sudden rush of leaves pattering and crashing around Caligo brightened his vision. The dog appeared in his mind too. Of course, he would take her back home. The dog, the restorer of his life, would join their family. A bark shadowed the scene. There before him was the dog. She stood not with his family, but with hers. Flop-eared and gaunt, they pushed against her for a taste of milk, but she snarled at them. They would not taste her milk. Did they not see? She barked at Caligo and lifted her tail high. The blood on her muzzle told a new story now, and her pups descended upon Caligo with wild yelps, plunging their fangs deep into his wounds, ripping and snarling over every inch of his flesh. Caligo would not see his wife again. He would not meet his son. Their teeth hurt, but the betrayal stung more than anything. Whoa. What a story, right? It's super dark, and I absolutely love that artistic vision that Anna Garner developed with the dual betrayal that's going on with Caligo, that sets him up for the scene of him dying in the moss, and then the dog coming in. There's so many parallels and profound imagery that she uses. It's really, I don't know, it's really, really excellent, and not an easy thing to do as a writer myself. Now, speaking of gritty stories, today's sponsor is Lawless, an anthology of short stories inspired by the Book of Judges. It was developed by Ali Prince for the company, and it's a gritty sci-fi western story. All the short stories work together in this one unified universe. It's a really unique premise. Basically, think if you watch the show Firefly, take that, but make it a little bit darker, maybe, and make it biblically inspired. It's really profound, super well written. I think there's about 13 stories in it, something like that. All excellent and a great read. And the great thing about an anthology is since it's individual short stories, you can pick and choose as you go. You don't have to, you're not obliged once you sit down to read the whole, 250 pages or however long it is. You can just take a little bit at a time. I really enjoy anthologies like that. I've read this whole book cover to cover, absolutely chock full of action, cool world building, and biblical themes. So if you like Firefly, you like the Bible, or both, this is definitely the book for you. I recommend checking it out on Amazon. Well, that wraps things up for today. Make sure to leave a comment below on whatever platform that you are on to let us know what you thought of Anna's story. And until next time, I'm Noah J. Matthews, and this is a Curiously Good podcast. You made it this far, so make sure you're liking, subscribing, and commenting. For a weekly dose of curiously good literature, hop over to the Pearl at pearlmag.co and make sure you subscribe. Just by listening, you're contributing to Better Kingdom Media. To sponsor an episode, email us at advertise@pearlmag.co. We'll catch you later.